to you, and many thanks for joining us again on our program this morning on ITV. Well, I'm sure that you watched the program yesterday, and of course it's on again today. My name is Evan Sunuhugie. You're welcome to Wednesday, the 15th day of July 2026. Always not alone on this program. Wilson Marshall is right here. Wilson Marshall, I know you are so disappointed, you know, with the match here yesterday.
What kind of a game is this? What kind of a part? What kudos Spain? Kudos to Spain. They have played France and they came out top. But really, I wasn't really happy with the outcome of the match. It's like France was just sleeping off the match. I was like, come on, man, this is France we used to know. You have the Mbappe, you have the Dembele, you have the Bakula, you have the Bruce. They couldn't do nothing against the younger man, against La Cotelera stuff there. What about Cucurella? I was like, France, really? Let's leave sports, bro. I'm not just happy. I'm not just happy.
You know, there's no way you can hide your emotions sometimes when you try to look at all those things, because that's why somebody like me, I really don't go with sports. Because
I love sports naturally. I love football.
I know.
I love good football. Yesterday, for what France played, anyway. Because just Argentina, congratulations in advance. So let things went around. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not just happy with it. I'm not just happy.
All right, so let's keep that down. Yes, we have our Lagos studio also on the program this morning on ITV. And of course, my colleague in Lagos, Patricia, is right there. Patricia, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Evans.
How are you doing? How's Lagos?
Well, the weather is cool, expecting rains again. Lagos is okay besides the flood. The flood is actually eating up Lagos as it is right now. And the rain is gathering up again in the sky to fall.
All right, so before we came on, Wilson and I were trying to, you look at this match of yesterday between Spain and, of course, France.
I don't think Patricia is a football fan. I don't know. Patricia, are you a football fan? Are you following the World Cup? I don't think so. Well, let's get to hear from her. I don't think it's like into the football thing, because right now the fans of France are like saying that France will just be the only country to really chase Argentina, to really hold on to Argentina. But right now, we don't have a France anymore. We have a Spain now. Let's go sit between England and Argentina. All I say, and that's going to be the England. I don't know, but right now, come on, it's like,
all right, so Patricia, let's hear a word from you, on yesterday's match. At least I'm sure you may have watched it too.
Evans, I'm going to disappoint you. I have never sat down since the World Cup started to watch any match. But anyway, I get to hear stories from, the men in the house. My son walked up yesterday to meet me and said, "Oh, no, Mommy, I'm sad. France lost." I said, "What's the meaning of that? I don't understand." I said, "Oh, no, they lost the game." So France is out. They're going home. That was exactly the words he used. So I was wondering, what is France? What? I don't know. I've never sat down to watch the World Cup, so I don't know what is going on there. I'm sorry.
All right, so let's join Tolu Lokbe in Abuja now. I know Tolu will want to talk about this. Now, Tolu, you are a sports, enthusiast and of course analyst, and I'm sure that your hope was not dashed away yesterday too, just like Wilson's own. Tolu.
Evans, I must tell you, really disappointing talking about the way and manner the French team went out of the competition. I'm really quite shocked. I personally also thought that France would make it to the final. Put into consideration the level of play, the way they've been able to go through all their group matches and also the knockout phase of the competition. I think for the French team is poles ahead of any other team in the competition. Unfortunately, football is not mathematics, and Spain taught us a very big lesson yesterday, the way Amana they dispatched the French. At the point in time, I was wondering which way for France to go in this encounter. Really shocking the way Amana they went down. Probably the first penalty dismantle whatever plans France team has in store. But unfortunately, I think the Spanish team were just better. I was listening to analysis by Thierry Henry earlier of this morning, and he talked about the technical areas which France failed to live up to expectation. They've been using more of power, but in technical part of the game, they were found wanting, and that's what the French team, the Spanish team did. Because player for player, the Spanish team were not better than the French team. But it just boils down, because at the end of the day, what you come to realize in football, it's not about the individual star. Because when you're talking about individual star, you are talking about the last Ballon d'Or winner, talking about Ismail Dembele. You are talking about arguably one of the best players right now, or probably the best player right now in the whole world. We're talking about Kylian Mbappe, and you're talking about Rabiot, team made up of stars. So, but it all boils down to team chemistry, being able to work together. Like the saying goes, a gang of boys always win tournament, not just individual stars. And that's what it boiled down to last night. The Spanish team were better team-wise, they're better technically, far ahead of the French team. And they totally made us realize that there's no myth about the French side. But that's football for us. We're looking forward to the second semi-final match, talking about the Argentine team taking on the English team. Which way will it go? Will the English side be able to make it to the first final since 1966? And we're looking forward to that. So much going into this encounter. And will a German coach be able to lead the English team to their first final since Ramsey did it in 1966? These are some of the things that will be on the minds of pundits and coaches all over the world.
Time factor, yeah, all right, so yeah, that's just a bit of sports there. Now, on our discussion segment of this morning in Benin, we're going to be looking at two key things. Talking about the release of the Oyo state, school children, and also how it's generating reactions and counter reactions. So we're going to be looking at it from the angle of forestalling reoccurrence. Then also we'll look at the court ruling on ADC and other political parties, and where does that put ADC now, and the implication for them as we glide towards the presidential election next day. Quickly, Wisney, you want to say something?
Well, they're going to throw their own opinion on this particular topic. This is what the way they feel about it, how they perceive. As it stands right now, ADC need to work very, very fast. They have to work really fast. Because say that, look, for the Widmark faction, you're not recognized. So they should see if they can liaise with the other faction. It's just about, a push-pull. You flog, you embrace, and all that. Well,
we'll leave the analysis for our guests this morning to analyze the issues. And let's see. Now, quickly, Patricia, let's hear what you have in Lagos. Quickly.
Thank you, Evans. We also will be looking at the ADC State Congress. We all know that the appeal court upholds order stopping INEC, so that's what we're going to be looking at from our Lagos network studio. We're going to be having a guest later on today who will talk about the recognition of ADC State Congress and the appeal court uphold. That's what we'll be taking from Lagos.
So what are you doing in Abuja? Quickly, Tulu.
In Abuja, we'll definitely be taking a look at the issue of state policing in the light of recent release of the kidnapping in Oyo State, and also looking at Nigeria in general. Will state policing be the solution to the problem of kidnapping and banditry in the country? These are what some of the things we'll be discussing this morning from Abuja.
Okay. All right, so you see that the program is well packed this morning, so for your delight. So it's yours now, so you sit back and you enjoy the rest of the program. We'll take a short pause now so that we'll join the corporate trainer in Oratai Nosahai on his segments. So please stay tuned.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of
Inuawata Nusahai is my name, and I'm always elated and delighted to come your way every Wednesday. And you know, we have been on the series, different leadership styles and their impacts on workplace dynamics. We have looked at the democratic leadership style, the coercive, the authoritative leadership style, which is not authoritarian. We have looked at the pace setting. The one we have not looked at is the affiliative leadership style. And that is what we are going to be, you know, discussing this morning, the affiliative leadership style. And you remember the template, the model we have been using. It is using case scenario to bring it to light and glean practical insights, you know, on all these different leadership styles so that we can apply it in our various workplaces, in our various teams. The affiliative leadership style is a leadership style that focuses on building harmony, fluid collaboration among team members. It ensures that there is emotional well-being. It ensures that there is psychological safety in the team. Its major focus is a people come first focus. It focuses on building harmony. It focuses on building unity. It focuses on building trust. It ensures that people have the emotional safety to be able to work together, you know, in fluid collaboration, just like I mentioned, and work effectively as a team. This is very, very important. And there is also a downside to it when you hold on to, you know, the affiliative leadership style, haven't used it to achieve team harmony and use it to achieve fluid collaboration. And the case scenario we are going to look at this morning is titled Healing the Team Before Patients. Healing the Team Before Patient. It's a case scenario that is situated in a public health institution, a public health facility, and you know, it's an interesting case scenario from which we are going to glean this affiliative leadership style insight from this morning. And the case scenario goes thus: a disagreement between senior nurses and junior doctors escalated into daily conflicts that disrupted ward operations and damaged teamwork. Now, this is normally the situation we see around in our country, especially in public hospitals, in public health facilities, where senior nurses and junior doctors are always having these ego competitions. You know, it is such a situation that if you don't arrest it as an hospital administrator, you know, or a chief medical director, it's going to affect team operation that will negatively ripple on patient care. And that is why the topic for this case scenario is called Healing the Team Before Healing the Patients. So I go into the case scenario one more time. It's a disagreement between senior nurses and junior doctors escalated into daily conflicts that disrupted ward operations and damaged teamwork. The hospital administrator organized reconciliation sessions. Now, this is bringing the affiliative leadership style that focuses on building harmony, focuses on building fluid collaboration and teamwork. This is, you know, using it to resolve this case scenario where the senior nurses and junior doctors are at loggerheads in this particular hospital. The hospital administrator organized reconciliation sessions, encouraged respectful dialogue, recognized outstanding teamwork publicly, and introduced monthly staff appreciation events, all geared towards ensuring that there is team harmony. He also encouraged department heads to conduct informal check-ins with team members and promptly address interpersonal tensions. He also encouraged departmental heads to conduct informal check-ins with team members and promptly address interpersonal tensions. Now, this is the outcome of applying this affiliative leadership style that focuses on building team harmony in this particular case scenario that is titled Healing the Team Before Healing Patients. Gradually, relationships improved, communication became more respectful, and patient care benefited from better collaboration. You can see the whole essence of ensuring team harmony, fluid collaboration in this health facility. It is to ensure that patient care is improved, and you know, the outcome actually at the end of the day helps to improve patient care. And that is why the title of the case scenario is Healing the Team Before Healing the Patient.
the hospital administrator has ensured that the team experience healing that will help ensure also that the patients are equally healed. Now, if this was a curated, corporate training session with an organization or with an hospital, there are some reflective questions that we'll discuss, and I will just briefly, look at them as I begin to, move towards conclusion. Reflective discussion questions. Why was relationship building necessary in this situation? And it is because poor relationships were undermining teamwork and patient care. Take note of that. Then the second, reflective discussion questions, like I said, if this was a corporate training session with an hospital, the second reflective question is, how did affiliate approach affect workplace dynamics in this case scenario? And the way it affected it is that trust, cooperation, morale, and communication improved. And the third question is, what is the danger of relying exclusively on this style, or if overused? In other words, what is the danger of a leader continuing to hold onto the affiliative leadership style, especially when the intended objective of using it to ensure team harmony and fluid collaboration have been achieved? What is the danger? The danger is that leaders may avoid confronting poor performance or misconduct in an effort to preserve harmony. This is one serious issue, when a leader continues to hold onto the affiliative leadership style. There may be a situation whereby mediocrity will be tolerated. Leaders, because they just want to ensure team harmony, will not address some matters of indiscipline that needs to be addressed, or matters of performing below expectation, just because they want to ensure that nobody is offended. They want to ensure that there is psychological safety or emotional safety. And at the end of the day, performance is negatively affected. So the key lesson from this case scenario is that healthy relationships support organizational effectiveness, but accountability must never be sacrificed. This is very, very important. And I believe that profound value have been added to you today, as you have always been doing. I know you want to reach me. My email is inuagata@gmail.com, inuaghata@gmail.com. Send your inquiries, send your questions, and as I always do, I'll provide answers straight back to you. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, I will still be the amiable Inuagata no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.
Benin Cultural Dance, a unique dance and quality dance steps of the Benin people. This dance is a vibrant mix of traditions, arts and beliefs, deeply rooted in the country's diverse ethnic groups and their rich history. The dance has artistic expressions depicting the people's history. Benin people have been famous for bronze and brass work, some of which is said to date back from the 13th century, especially ivory and wood carving. In Benin, the people dance to show respect, honor, dignity, which they honor. They dance to show royalty, as natives are seen in their numbers around their body depicting the symbol of kingship.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
Welcome back. It is a newspaper review segment. We're going to be looking at the major headlines and today's dailies. And we're starting this morning with the Punch newspaper. The big news headline there on the Punch newspaper says, fake agency scandal. How IGP Special Force arrested controversial DG in Oshun's hideouts. And it also says, inside the one-week manhunt that led to Adeyemi's arrest. We also have Abuja High Court postpones arrangement until September 30th, while we also have NBA orders push for evidence-driven investigation. And on page 7, we find federal government ends UN-led humanitarian coordination. And on page 9, you can find the reps dump own state police bill adopting Tinubu's version. Or your adoption, Senate SGF fought Makinde's UN probe. You can find that on page 8. And also on Punch newspaper, we have the 2027 race. INEC recognizes Atiku 470 ADC candidates. And on the bottom of the Punch newspaper, we have Tears, Joy as adopted or your people reunite with parents. And we also have on page 30, fans ride booking app triggers airport taxi rule. And we also have on page 4, manhunt begins for killers of Lagos NURTW leader. That's what we have on the Punch newspaper. And we'll go in Evans is waiting to
Thank you very much. Yes, we're taking it with Lagos. For Senate, Gbajabiamila probe as police arrest Adeyemi, and you can find that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Then also we have reps query OAGF over deductions from NDAs, statutory funds, also on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Akpabio Abbas defend a decision to prioritize Tinubu's state police bill on page 3 on the Guardian newspaper. Then on the front page, the big bold headline, we have fuel jumps by 100 naira per litre as a Dangote shifts $1.8 billion extra to marketers. Alea Ayedasiwa on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. So for regulation, make power reforms. That comes in from NASA, NEROC, who is putting that warning. And you can get that to read on the page 7 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Oriri kidnapping, Senate lawyers, CSOs divided over Makide's push for United Nations probe. Well, we also saw the senator representing Edo North Central District, Adam Tushomole, also leading his voice to the Makide's calling on the United Nations to do a probe on the situations surrounding the release of the Oriri school children. Well, that's all from the Guardian newspaper this morning. Pat, let's get to see all the papers from you.
Okay, we're going to be taking the New Telegram newspaper, and the major headline on the News Telegram newspaper says, State Police reps reverse passage, adopt Tinubu's version. And on top of the newspaper, we have on police arrest alleged fake PFIPC DG Adeyemi in Osun State. And we have this major one that is bothering me, Evans. It says Lassa fever death toll hit 221 as NCDC records fresh rise in infections. I mean, this is rising really high, so it has to be taken care of. And we also have on page 30, 2027, Ayedatiwa alias loyalty missing as APC upholds NAS list. And also on page 2, we have Trump scraps threats of 20% fee on Huma's cargo. And on the list of the newspaper, we have insecurity. U.S. Nigeria targets ISIS preparators of anti-Christian violence. And we also have on page 4, 5, and 2027, Baba Ahmed appeals to judiciary on ADC, NDC court cases. That's all we have on News Telegram this morning. Do well to pick your newspaper. We'll go back to Evans. Evans, what do you have?
All right, thank you, Pat, one more time. And our next port of call is the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And top headlines on the Vanguard newspaper reads that ADC insists appeal court's verdict has no effect on presidential tickets. And that's a big page on page 9. Then why Tinubu did not call Makinde over Oriri rescue. And the secretary to the federal government is of that opinion. And you can get that to read on 2 pages, page 19 and page 30 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Then also the big bold headline that you get to see on the front corner, PFIPC police nab DG Adeyemi in Osun village hideout. And the rider to that headline, as court orders hit arrest for failing to appear, fixes September 30th for arraignment. And you can get that to read on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Why Nigeria's databases are still fragmented despite NIMC's claim on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper too. Then Tinubu transmits State Police Constitution Amendment Bill to reps, and on page 8 that you get that to read this morning. INEC chair seeks more funding over election on page 40. Then xenophobia, South African returnees recount ordeals, and the rider is that as 350 Nigerians return today in final evacuation. And that's you know, the big story there on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. All right, so quickly, Pat, let's take one more headline, one more paper from you, then we'll call it a wrap on the paper review segment.
Lucky me, Doctor is here in the house this morning. Welcome, Doctor. So let's quickly go on to Tribune newspaper. The major headline on Tribune says, go after other bandits. terrorists nationwide, Senate tells federal government. And then also we have caution marking day to stop trivializing government's efforts. Oyo Assembly backs governor on call for UN probe. Oriri Hospital discharges 25 out of 39 on admission. At the ADC demand Nafwa Bala's president on alleged forgery of INEC document. And we also have on page 3, police arrest fake PFIPCG Adeyemi. That's on every newspaper anyway. So let's quickly go to the bottom of the newspaper. Rep drops own state police bill considering Tinubu proposal. That's find on page 13. I think I'm going to leave that here. Let's quickly also look at lots of fever deaths rises to in 23 states. That is actually alarming. Since Dr.
ITV, certainly the best.
To stop it. We cannot allow this to continue. I think that Nigeria should be at the forefront of eliminating Lassa because, like I said, this is where it originated from.
Okay, Doctor, let's quickly look at cautions on marking day to stop trivializing government's efforts. What do you make out of that?
Okay, so what you find is a situation where, in the case of those that have been released, the federal level, they try to minimize of Makinde and try to minimize what he was doing, and at the same time, Makinde, has been laying it on the doorsteps of government. So it's just the usual political fight, both of them. But Makinde, obviously, a lot rests on his shoulder, although security is not at his doorstep, if you like, because it does have federal government. But it's the usual power play between the federal and state government. And I think, to a large, if we heard what the principal said, that those 2 lives that were lost was because the kidnappers said government was toying with them. And so these are the kind of things that put the lives of citizens at risk when Doctor, we do power plays.
In 1 minute, let's look at reps dropping own state police bill. Quickly in 1 minute. Okay,
so the issue of state police bill is, if you look at it right now, so what seems to be happening is reps have gone through everything decided, and now whatever it is, the motive of whatever they have. Personally, I'm not even clear what the president has inserted into it, but I expect that the president should have passed it through the National Assembly as well, get someone to be able to, or get them to insert. He has access to the speaker, so that they do it from there rather than say the president's own proposal. Although he can originate bills of his own, but if he was going to do that, then he should have done that in the beginning rather than allow them go through the process that they've been through.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We don't have time on our hands this morning. Let's go back to Benin where the TMI continues.
All right, thank you so much, Pat, for that paper review segment there. And also a very big thank you to Dr. Victor Ohai. Now, as we make preparations for our first discussion this morning, Western Marshall, we're going to be looking at internal security and amidst the release of the Oyo primary school children, then also to, trying to look at issues, things that we should be doing as a nation now to forestall a reoccurrence.
All right, that would quite be nice in the sense that it's all about security. Let's take a look at what is happening. One is to be preventive measures. And of course, rather talking about being active, we should be proactive in this particular point in time, because whenever you hear about security situation, it seems to like make Nigerians to be at edge. Thank God, another 56 days they've been released, and some persons, some gallant soldiers are going to report lost their lives in that particular operation. May God rest their soul. But this is like a clarion call for all those responsible to really, you know, wake up their responsibilities. All right, you're talking about state police. The bill, as I heard, has been pulled off of the House. They want to follow our president's own objective, well, let's say his own kind of decision. Let's see what I will make out of it. You understand? So things are just going on. Just pray that at least somehow we'll get it right this time. Yes.
All right, so before we bring our guest into the discussion this morning, because we tend to have the Honorable Commissioner for Public Safety in Edo State, this whole thing borders on, you know, the security strategy of the ruling party, the APC, because the release now is generating reactions and counter-reactions. Some say that the children were not actually released, they were brought back. So we really don't know which to follow now.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they're warred against each other. Some say that ransom, well, like, you know, people are saying that no, ransom wasn't paid. It was like a handiwork of security agency. Another one. We'll just therefore our own analyst to really tell us what he feels about it. Yeah, because right now we have Kennedy via Zoom right now.
All right, now, so we'll take a short pause now and see how we started the discussion this morning. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
The land of Owa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Owa traced their origin to Benin Kingdom as a result for a man to find a comfortable place for living. The name Owa was derived from the largest and longest river in the area, which is known as Onwian or Onwa. It means one who makes merry in affluence.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program held.
Thank you one more time. Sincere apologies. We had to quickly pause on the first discussion segment this morning. And let's take the next one. The one has to do with the ADC's court ruling, and the one also too that has to do with the registration of political parties in the country, the implication for parties in 2027 presidential election. Now, this morning, we are so privileged to have Kennedy Ojo, who is the ADC chairman, Edo State. He's joining us virtually from Benin this morning. Mr. Kennedy, you're welcome to the program. Mr. Kennedy? All right, Mr. Kennedy, if you can hear us, you're welcome to the program.
Can you please unmute yourself if you can hear us? Unmute yourself, Kennedy, because we need to have this interview with you right about now. Can you hear us? Can you please unmute yourself? It's like we're having some technical difficulties. I think we should just go for a break to establish contact with the chairman, ADC Edo State Chapter.
Let's
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year.
thank you one more time. Still the program, this one on ITV, and we've been able to join Mr. Kennedy Odion now, who's the chairman of the ADC in Edo State. Mr. Kennedy, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, my dear brother. Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay, so I'm not alone on this program today. I've got Wilson Omasho, my co-anchor on the show. Now, Mr. Kennedy, let's get your reaction. I mean, the recent court judgment, the appeal court in Abuja, pronouncing the judgment that that the INEC should not recognize the caretaker committee set up by David Mark. Now, what is the implication of this for your party, and how is your party responding to it as we're moving towards the presidential election?
Well, the appeal court ruling was to establish what the trial court has earlier ruled because of the purported Congress that was held across the state of Nigeria earlier this year, when the state chairman wrote to the caretaker national chairman, the president of Senator David Mark, that the tenure of those chairmen is still running, and the constitution of our great party states categorically that the composition of Congress committee at the state, the ward, local, and state level will be done by the state executive committee. So this section of our constitution was bypassed by this caretaker committee because of a motive best known to them. Then, and at the end of the day, the chairmen were aggrieved and they went to court. And the trial court ruled that they have no right whatsoever to have constituted the caretaker committee or a Congress committee across the state of Nigeria to have done so. So, as a matter of fact, with the chairman, we expected the people in question to have come back to a drawing board where we can actually harmonize and put things right if actually we are ready for this election. But they were not satisfied. They went to appeal court, and yesterday the appeal court affirmed the ruling of the trial court.
All right, before I really delve into the main question, I just want us to get one thing clear, Comrade Kennedy Odion. Which faction are you rooting for? They have two factions in the ADC. From what the court said the David Mark faction should not be recognized by INEC. That is on one hand. That's the first question. What about the faction you are rooting for? And two, do you feel this judgment has led to rest the turbulence in your political party, which is the ADC?
you.
Are you there, comrade?
Yes, I can hear you. The party
All right.
of Nafi Bala is actually challenging the leadership of David Mark. Then the faction of the state chairman, where I belong, which is not actually a faction, it was just the chairman agitating for their right, that the David Mark-led NWC have no right to dissolve or constitute another authority when there is an authority running in the party at the state level. So that is what the faction represents. It's not actually a faction. So when the court ruled and they have had their Congress, the state chairman went ahead and also have their own Congress as directed by the trial court. So that is why we are not actually a faction from the David Mark-led NWC. We are the chairman, so we believe that we are the state chairman recognized, and we are the chairman that did the right thing, which is a strength in our constitution for the state chairman to conduct their own Congress. So what it means that the critical committee have no right to constitute a Congress committee at the state level. So what the ruling has affirmed now is that the man have no right to have done so, and having done that, he has violated the section of the Constitution, and what he has done, or what the NWC have done, is null and void and does not exist in our Constitution. So our own Congress is recognized, and our National Convention is also recognized. That's what the law says right now. So as a matter of fact, INEC cannot deal with David Mark any longer. So all that David Mark-led NWC have done, Congress, primary, whatsoever, is a nullity right now. That's the position of the appeal court.
Well, we understand that the David Mark group now, faction of the ADC, is working assiduously to see how they can come to your own group, your own faction of the ADC. Now, for some political analysts, that is probably going to spell, another doom for the ADC, because we're looking at a situation that is time-bound. And of course, we're also looking at a situation that will further deepen maybe the seeming crisis within the ADC.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that this whole issue, this whole scramble that is happening in the ADC, were avoidable crisis. I term it as self-inflicted crisis because we foreseen them coming, and we, for one reason or the other, wrote a several memo to the national chairman and all the stakeholders for the party. Some of the leaders we have in Edo State were aware of this own crisis coming. I personally went to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to brief him of the possible crisis that will happen and that will erupt in our party if it's not checked at that stage, that these things are capable of rocking the boat.
All right, so we said, you see, as
tell us what to do. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can hear you.
we
loud
can
and
hear
clear.
you. All right, now from
Okay.
what you said you met Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to intimate him on the crisis that may come up if they continue to do what they were doing this before the court judgment. But as it stands right now, by the appeal court putting the judgment of the lower court, do you feel that your own party have a candidate right now? If it doesn't, how long do you think you can really bring out one for INEC to recognize?
Do they even still have the time?
That's the question I'm asking him right now. You don't answer the question.
Yes.
Comrade.
When the court ruled, the court have the right to compel any government agency to avail time for those who are in crisis. So this is a court order, and when court rule, there's no way we will not fit candidate, because things were done wrongly, and we have also had our congresses, and we did our convention, which we presented in that our convention, national chairman Alaji Bashir Adraman and Dumebi Kachiku as our presidential candidate. So what is best practice for anyone that actually want to come together now is for them to come down from their high horses and let's come together and do the needful by finding a way to make this whole crisis and forge a common front and face the election. Because I see any opposition that actually want to win the election, don't allow it wrangling in their party. They would have done everything to see how they can avoid this crisis, because it was an avoidable crisis in the first instance. But they didn't pay attention to it. Probably they feel they can always find their way around any issue because they believe in power, and all that stuff. So that's what I believe.
Now, Kennedy Odion, did you say that you people had a candidate ab initio? I mean, before we had Atiku Abubakar emerging from the David Mark's, National Working Committee. Did you say that you people had a candidate? And if you did not have a candidate, do you still have the time now to quickly, elect a candidate? Because we are looking at a situation that has to do with time. In the first place, does the Constitution still support that for you now? The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 Constitution as amended, that stipulates the time, within of which political parties are supposed to elect their candidates, submit the list of these candidates to INEC and all that. Do you have all this time?
Yes, we do. The time we have is the courts that rule that this is what should happen in ADC also have the power to compare INEC to give us the window to also do the needful, to upload the candidate that have emerged. So what is important right now is the candidate that was elected on our own platform at the national convention that we had on the 24th of April this year, and the 24th of May rather, this year, to emerge, then the code should be given to us to upload that candidate, which is the Dumebi Kachiku, that we elected at our national convention as the flag bearer of the ADC. So the Dumebi Kachiku is the candidate that we elect on our own platform. And I also learned yesterday that the Nafi Bala faction also had a national presidential candidate, which is I heard about one Chris Oba from Anambra State that is so fashion. But now that the judgment is in our favor, I believe INEC is going to oblige us with the code to upload our own candidate, which is His Excellency Dumebi Kachiku, our presidential candidate.
All right, now I need to react to this rumor speculation making the rounds. The rumor making the rounds are clear in the air. You understand? They are saying that your own faction, with Kachiku as your candidates, connect with the ruling party and INEC to edge out Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, all to favor the ruling party. How true or how false is this assertion, rumor?
Well, when things are happening like this, people are at liberty to speculate anything they can pick in the air. But for me, there is no time we have ever had any meeting with the ruling party to say this is what we want to do and all that. So nobody has engaged me as a person. I don't have any idea whether anybody is conniving. Dumebi Kachiku, times with that number that we have had meeting, I'm asking, do you have any affiliation with the ruling party? Because I don't want to be associated in such shenanigans. He has repeatedly said he is the man of the people. How can he be on the ballot and go and be negotiating with the ruling party? That is not his person, that he will never do that. So for me, I take him for his word, but I personally have not had any engagement with any government official in this regard. So that rumor is false, and I believe it's being perpetrated by those who feel they are just looking for a way to blackmail individuals like us who have integrity, who have over the years stood their ground to say the right thing must be done.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Kennedy Audio, for spending part of your time with us for at least clearing the gray areas when we talk about the appeal court upholding the judgment of the lower court. I hope we'll call on you next time. You definitely oblige us to talk some more about 2027 politics as it affects your party, the ADC. Thank you so much for being a part of this interview.
Thank you very much, my good friend Amasha. Thank you. Brother, God bless you.
Yeah.
I'll be available next time. In short, I'll be in your studio. In short, I'll be around maybe next week so that I can come to the studio directly to come and talk with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All right then.
Right.
Yeah, the issues are still developing, so we'll see what
because he said they have enough time. The court's going to give them time to straighten the bent part or the gray areas and all that.
You know, we say for us here, we really cannot. You know, we're not politicians, but when we hear some of these politicians speak to these issues, you know, it appears that it's something is just been acted out here. So we just pray, like what he said, if the ADC is still going to have the time, you know, to quickly make amendments so that they can still have their election. All right, now, so let's go over to another topic this morning, talking about the internal security of the country, and that has to do right now with the release of the Oyo you know, student. Anyway, let's quickly take a short break. We'll be right back after this time.
Your sacrifices. The Mobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking about. That's what I said. So when they bullied her,
Yeah.
if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see when they are dressing them or are dragging on both sides, you cannot you cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
Thank you. Still on the program this morning on ITV. In the next few minutes, we're going to be estraying the security strategy of the ruling party in Nigeria right now, talking about the All Progressives Congress. And when we talk about now, there's a clear case in mind, so current, talking about the release of the Oyo school children. About 56 days these children spent in the hands of their abductors, kidnappers. All right, so we're privileged to have the Honorable Commissioner for Public Safety, Edo State, who is joining us virtually this morning. Sir, you're welcome to the program. Mr. Festus Ibia, you're welcome to the show.
Good morning, ITV and listeners to Edo State and beyond.
Okay. All right, so like what I said, we are going to be extracting the security strategy of your party, the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress. Now, the release of the Oyo school children, no doubt that is laudable. At least those kids have been reunited back to their family and all that. But let's look at the reactions and counter reactions. Now, a lot of persons are of the opinion that those children were not released, that they were simply brought back. And now social media is agog with various reactions and all that. Take, for example, the one that has to do with the principal who, on her release, started demanding for her car. Some persons are of the opinion that for somebody that was in abduction for 56 days, I mean, she won't come out and start demanding for her car. Let's start the discussion there.
Well, number one, I don't know why you had to ask me about my party. I don't represent my party. I represent the government of Edo State under the leadership of Senator Monday Okpebholo. If you want to speak with the party is there at Popa. You can meet the spokesman, you can meet the chairman, you can meet the secretary. However, when you talk about security, I think I'm very qualified to speak about it as the current Commissioner for Public Safety and Security in Edo State. I want to draw your mind to the fact that opposition is opposition. Social media is part of the opposition. Why will you be more concerned about how they were released? In my place, they said, oh, snake. The snake was killed. Don't begin to ask who killed the snake. Not to talk of the fact that issue of security, you don't bring everything to the fore. The government who organized it, both the state, Oyo, and of course the federal government, and all the security agencies, they know how they did it. So if you are now coming around to begin to say, oh, we don't believe they were just released and ransom was paid, but thank God they were released. I do not understand why we should be more concerned about what happened.
All right, now if you
are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. Well, Honorable Commissioner, I believe you can hear me loud and clear. There seems to be this banter of words, accusation and counter-accusation between the governor, Makinde, and of course the federal government, talking about the one led by the ruling party. Now, as a security expert, knowing fully well that these gentlemen are really on top, so to speak, in the states and of course in the federation, the way the operations, being carried out, don't you feel that there is something fishy that they don't want Nigerians or the world to know? For Seyi Makinde to call on you to come probe, and of course the president is countering Seyi Makinde, don't you think that something is really amiss?
At the beginning, was he saying that? At the beginning, it was full of thanks to the federal government. He was thanking Mr. President, he was thanking all the security agencies. How come suddenly, because he's an opposition member, he's now looking at whatever is not there because social media has talked him into it? Look, I want to advise that we should focus more on the fact that the children were released. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. We'll begin to hear exactly what played out. We're all aware of the fact that they were starved of food. We're all aware of the fact that they were starved of medication. We're all aware of the fact that they were starved of all the things that will make them to be comfortable. And we're all aware of the fact that the leaders of those kidnapping gang, their families were equally arrested. And allowed the people in the kidnappers themselves to know that if you kill any of those children, we have your children with us. So the government wouldn't have gone into that extent if they were not threatening. The first people they killed, they were thinking they do that, they'll begin to negotiate with them. Let them equally come out to say that the man in question, they demanded for his release. It's on trial. The trial commenced immediately. Find out the man was released. Or find out who paid the ransom. We like to dwell so much on this ransom thing. I was in a meeting last week with all the 36 state commissioners for security, with the National Security Advisor, to the fact that we are going to criminalize ransom payment. So the government that is pushing for it will not equally be involved in it. So we should play down on this and celebrate with the families of that they have gotten their children back.
All right, Commissioner. Now, the security strategy of the government in power, even if you are not trying to speak from the angle of a politician now, but the security strategy of the government in power in Nigeria today, you know, like lots of Nigerians, they really want to know what is the focus, what is the main thrust of the security strategy, because this is probably not the first time that we are seeing some persons abducted, and at the end of the day, one or two persons may have to go, may be killed during the process. So is it necessarily a situation whereby there's somehow has to be a sacrificial lamb, you know, comparing it to maybe what is obtained in other crimes, whereby not even a single soul will have to lose his or her own life?
Mission that we can actually define on my own. I cannot really define to you that this is their main mission other than criminality. So if you went to my back village here in Edo State, you caught somebody in the farm, while you are negotiating ransom, you kill the person. What kind of kidnapping is that? Is there any statement being made, we kill this person because of this, when at the end the people were ready to give you the money, up and until now the person's body had not been found? You know, reports are abound in Edo State here of people who were killed in their farms, people who were killed along the road. So we cannot be saying that they are having to do this because they have a mission. I don't know their mission. I want to be told what their missions are, especially the kidnappers. We hear of ISIS, we hear of ISWAP and all that. They should tell us what the Nigerians have done to them. But we must remember too that when a previous government tried to see how we can tackle this here at the beginning, some of our brothers somewhere else in part of the country, they said, no, you want to reduce the population of that zone. But today, everybody is feeling it. We are talking about it here because we are thinking that they are pushing them down here to come and do whatever they are doing. For me, politics has come and use everything to fight opposition. Social media, kidnapping, lies, disinformation, and all whatnot. Every form of criminality, they are doing it. Even in Edo State here, you see some people coming on social media and people will be raising dust. About 3 weeks ago, they told you that the Holy Trinity School in Sabumbida Ora had been taken over by terrorists, which were pure lies. The person who orchestrated that lies now today is in detention. You heard when they said the school, some one school or so in Aurora in the Ipoba Hill area, had been taken over by kidnappers. They were all lies. The person was equally arrested. So I do not think it's a case of government inefficiency. No. What the problem is that when it comes to security, every political party must have their hands on deck and speak one language and collaborate with the government. If you see America, nobody really plays so much on the negative when it comes to the issue of security. But here in Nigeria, all we do is criticize the government. The opposition is not happy now that the people were released. That's why they are looking for another, ransom was paid. Ransom was paid. So I really don't understand. Do you want them released or you want them killed because you want to make a point politically? I'm yet to understand. The government, I believe, if I can speak very well for Edo State, is focused, is ensuring that kidnappers are not just treated with kid gloves. The governor a few weeks ago told you that he's setting up a special court to deal with kidnappers. And yesterday they sat. You understand? I have not been there. I don't know whether they are allowing people to go and view it. Go there, you will find out, and you are a journalist, you will find out that the government of Edo State, as far as security is concerned, is doing its own. I'm not saying it's uhuru, because soft targets are not things you can stop. But nobody will be treated with kid gloves when you find yourself in the cookie jar, whether through criminality, whether through cultism, or whether through any other vice, as the case may be.
So quickly, because we know you have some great work to go and do in the office today. Now, quickly, we want you to speak on what some analysts see as the flip-flop nature of the release. What do I mean by flip-flop now? I'm talking about before the eventual release of on the 10th of this month of July. We heard almost about 3 times or 4 times that these victims were released. Then eventually they were released. So the flip-flop nature of the release somehow seems to question the security strategy of the government in power. Quickly, sir.
Some of these same analysts had told you before that the children had been shipped out of Oyo State. You heard that. They had been shipped out. So how come they were released in Oyo? They were shipped back. How come nobody saw them? These analysts, don't they equally have a way of checking what is going on? Look, my brother, I want to beg you. Let's focus on the main issue and leave all these analysts. Their analyses are never true. They are just somewhere in the cocoon of their bedroom or somewhere, and they begin to tell like Nigerians lies that they are not even aware of what is going on. Issue of security is not something you begin to discuss on the pages or on the streets. The military, the civil defense, the DSS, and even my own local Edo State Security Corps here. It's not everything we bring to the fore to discuss. Where I didn't leave the governor until almost 11 p.m. last night. There was nothing else we were discussing other than security. How to do this, analyzing what had happened in the last 24 hours and how we are dealing with it. And the successes we have recorded, we cannot really bring them because this social media has made it possible for us to even to tell Edo people we have done this. A lot of these bad boys have been neutralized here and there. But can we begin to throw their video in on this thing and be saying, oh, viewers' discretion is advised? Please, we mind your sensibilities and all that. We are working. The way we are working in the Edo State, I believe that the federal government is working. We took the reports of every state, and it was including even the PDP or opposition.
Studio right there, and we'll continue the conversation just as we started this morning from 7 a.m., ensuring that you are up to date with what is happening across the country and also the outside the shores of this country as it relates to Nigerians right there. But on the from the Abuja studio, we'll be taking a look at the issue of state policing, which has also been generating a whole lot of reaction in the light of the recent kidnap and release of the kidnapped victims in Oyo State, and also subsequent and things that have been happening across the length and breadth of this country, and a lot of discussions surrounding state policing has been cropping up in recent times right there. Some have hailed the decision of the federal government to hasten the passing of the bill on state policing. But we'll look at the merit and demerit of state policing. How do you find a solid line that will satisfy the interest of the populace? Joining me this morning via Zoom to take a look at this is no other person than Kenneth Badi, who is chairman ADC Diaspora Network on the issue and also tenant benefit. Morning to you.
I can hear the studio. Badi. The studio mic is off. I hope you know that.
Okay, I think we'll try to correct that. But if you can hear me, I will try to fix that within the next few seconds right there. Hopefully, we can have Kenneth Badi back online, who is the chairman ADC Diaspora Network, as we take a look at the issue of state policing, the benefits and the challenges. So many issues have been raised concerning the challenges that could come with state policing. With some saying the power might be too much for some of the states to really handle, while some have also been talking about the issue about ethnic and religious bias being part of it, while also the issue about human rights concern have been raised, and also the jurisdictional conflict also cropping up. I think we have Kenneth Badi back online right now. If you can hear me, are you back with us, Mr. Kenneth? Okay. We'll try to get Mr. Kenneth back online and fix the audio part right there. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of two local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards, according to National Population Commission 2006 census. The population of Onwa people is put together at 251,686. The people love tradition and culture. Historically, the people ancestors in deep quest to hand down on their future children a society of love and friendship.
ITV, certainly the best.
In a rare display of botanical brilliance, the palm tree defied natural norms, sprouting multiple branches that bear fruits. This rare occurrence has become a wonder to many, as experts are calling it a one-in-a-million phenomenon. Could this multiple-headed marvel hold secret to agricultural breakthroughs, or is it simply a freak accident of nature? An agronomist with Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFOR Benin. The strange palm tree also raises issues of a blend of science with human interest and cultural significance for maximum impact.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a
this morning on ITV and on to the Abuja studio right there, where we're open to have a discussion with Kenneth Gbagi as we take a look at the issue about state policing with the recent event unraveling across the country. So many proponents of state policing said it's time for us to have state policing right now. Though there are some governors who have been holding back when it comes to support for state policing. A whole lot of factors have been made, a lot of factors have been held responsible for this. But we want to take a look at this and what this means with the spate of kidnapping, banditry across the country. Why is it important to have state policing at this point in time? We have Kenneth Gbagi right here, the chairman ADC Diaspora Network, to take a look at this with me and also looking at the benefits and the merits of state policing. Mr. Kenneth, are you back with us right now?
Yes, thank you very much for having me. And greetings to our viewers all over Nigeria and all over the world.
Okay, it's good. It's good to have you with us right there. I know so much talk has been said about state policing. Some have talked about the merit and the merit of state policing. Some have said governors may use it to their own advantage. But in the light of what is happening across the country, kidnapping and banditry, do you think coming on board of state policing is timely?
Yeah, well, I think I listened to the last speaker, your last guest on the studio from Edo State. I think something with the commissioner for public safety or something like that. And I had the issue about the kidnapping in Oyo State, and then a job of any first responsibility of any government is life and property, securement of life and property. And we all agree, like you said in your opening remark, that the security architecture in Nigeria is it's one of the worst in the world as we speak today, with kidnapping, banditry on a daily basis. And so the issue of state police, I think, like you also said in your opening remark, a lot of people agree that it's time we have state police, considering the rampant nature of security lapses we have in Nigeria. The question is Nigerian, especially the Nigerian government that are going to administer that reform, are we ready, sincere, to opt out for for a state police? If you look at the nature of Nigerian police today, most of the barracks, most of the vehicles and the logistic operation are being sponsored by the state, and so I do not understand why majority of them are actually scared of the state police, which has faster response time, which have better local intelligence, which have the decongestion of the Nigerian police force as we have them now, which stressing federalism. So I think at the end of the day, I am of the opinion that the state police is overdue. The question is, do we have the necessary structure, to avoid the abuse of the governors? That's the biggest question.
Of state policing, I've said something about the fact that knowing that we are in a democratic system, the governors may want to use it to their own advantage, using it to make life difficult for their opponent. Should that be one major reason why we should say state policing should not be allowed?
I disagree. Like I said, I'm one of the very, very strong proponents of state police, in as much as one have that in mind. And your program last time, I made a example of the governors have been termed the the chief security officers of their state. But like in the case of example I made in Lagos, where Governor Fashola was not able, not Fashola, Showolu was not able to to ask the Department of Police in Magodo to leave because they're going to take order from the federal government. And so, yes, such issues happen. And even in the recent case of your state, where a state governor, in the person of His Excellency Makinde, who is supposed to be the chief, police officer of the state, is saying that he's likely, advocating for a national probe, to find out exactly what happened. And then our Nigerian National Assembly, feeling in their responsibility, are saying that they are rejecting that call, and some people calling them names. So one see the dichotomy, the difference, the rubbing point between the governors and the central police command when it comes to in terms of who controls the security architecture. So I do not think that the current security difficulties we're having now, everything is worth trying to see if we can nip it in the bud. And so the fears of the governors overusing that still there, but must not prevent us from trying that new formula. I mean, we can't continue the killing of Nigerians, destruction of life and properties on the fear that the governors might overuse it. Let us solve the security problem first, and let's deal with that later.
One major theme that also been cropping up, while since we discussion about state policing has been going on, is also the part of funding. Some states said they may not have the financial capacity to be able to fund state policing. But in the light of what is happening, should that be a major problem that will be against having a state policing system in place?
Again, what is the worth of life in Nigeria? If saving lives and property involves, I mean, look at all the billions our government are spending for foreign trips. Look at the billions they are spending to get the SUVs. Look at the billion the illegal agencies have been spending to. So if we can spend such fund on these frivolous and sometimes fraudulent activities, why can we not channel that fund for funding of our security? I mean, like I said, the primary objective of every government is to guarantee lives and properties of its citizens, and whatever it will take to keep Nigeria safe, I think the government should should endeavor that. Like I said, also part of the Nigerian police as of today, in terms of equipments, in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of welfare, the state are already engaged in making sure that the police are at least are able to function within the minimal capacity they can in their respective states. So I do not think that funding should be a reason why we should allow the wanton destruction of life and properties in Nigeria. If it involves cutting up the waste in government circles, cutting off the corruption in Nigeria to fund the police, so be it. Life is precious. Life of Nigerians are very, very important, more important than the SUVs of the governors and the parliament and the politicians.
But another issue that may also crop up, because when new ideas come in and implementation happens to also coming, there will be new other issues that will also crop up that initially may not be prepared for. Let's take, for instance, what this will mean to the Nigeria Police Force. In the emergence of state policing and some states try to implement it, there will also be an issue where the powers of each architecture will also be determined. And some may say it may also affect the working efficiency of the Nigeria Police Force. How do you think this can be? How do you think this can be balanced to ensure there is a synergy between both parties?
Well, let's honestly look at we have in Omotoku in some part of the I think your state or so. Then we have the Ibubago in the east, and then some of the vigilantes in Edo State and in Delta State. These issues there's always been a synergy within these security forces, and of course they are working very, very well. I mean, the rescue of the purported rescue of our brothers and sisters in Oyo State was successful due to the synergy between the vigilantes, the local police, the military, and the rest of them. So such synergies are not new. What we actually need to do is to make sure that we toe a middle line, a hybrid model rather than a complete transfer of, police powers, in my own view. And that will include an independent, state police service commission. We have the confirmation of a police commissioner by the State Assembly, for instance, multi-stakeholders oversight of this, police force, and the constitutional guarantee, protecting opposition parties and the minorities. If we have such standard, have a clear division of responsibility between the federal and the state police. Listen, I lived in my almost 30 years of my life in Germany, and of course, travel around the world, including America, Asia, and some part of Africa. If you look at the the situation like in Germany or in United States or in UK, there is a clearly division of policing, where we have equivalent of state police in America, in Germany, and so Nigeria cannot be exempted. We have about 250 million Nigerians. With how many police force are we able to police this large number of population in Nigeria? And that is why they are not effective, and that is why the funding, even from the federal as we speak today, is not even nothing to write home about. Look at their welfare, their barracks, look at their uniforms, look at the police stations. And so I think the question of state police is overdue. We should endeavor to begin to look at what modalities are we going to put in place. What architecture are we going to put in place to make sure that the state police are not being abused by the governors, that they are well funded and they are acceptable both by the public and the existing police force. Again, like I said, what is their life? What is the worth of every Nigerian? The primary objective of the primary responsibility of every government is the protection of life and properties. Nigerian government must do everything it takes to protect its citizens, even if it means at a higher funding. And of course, like I said, they have been working already before now. I do not see what is going to change when we have the real state police being created.
Okay, we've had instances in Lagos where some people who have worked for government probably during the campaign process are being given the opportunity to work with one parastatal or the other. Don't you also think that if the implementation of state policing happens, some governors or some political bigwigs may use it as a settlement for their political jobbers?
You're not far from the truth. I mean, that fear exists. But again, I said the fear of such abuse or the security of life and properties of Nigerians outweighs the fear of those abuse. Let's get to the bridge, and when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. And I just give you a very good example that all over the world, especially in the best democracies in the world, that the state police complements the federal police, and that is why they have tried as much as possible, to fight those insecurities. Yes, like I mentioned, some oversight function is required by the state assemblies. Some oversight function is required, by a police commission, services that have to employ and has to involve, the traditional chiefs, the House of Assembly members, prominent members of Nigerians, civil society, and the rest of them. If we have such strong commission, they should be able to allay the fears or at least check, the abuse of such appointment by the governor. Again, like I said, what is the word of life? What is important is that the current security in Nigeria cannot allow to continue. What it takes, to bring this nightmare to an end, Nigeria should be ready and open to experiment that. If you have state police, again, like I said, the response time is faster compared to the federal police. They have a better local intelligence. It strengthens federalism, like I said, improve accountability. It creates jobs, and on the ground. And that's when you have more people employed, we have less challenges of unemployed youths or people engaged in different federal activities. Again, we cannot use the fear of personal abuse to continue to lose lives in Nigeria. The lives of Nigerians are important.
With the spread of insecurity being recorded across the country, a lot of people would have thought the passing of the bill would have been something that would have been done within a twinkle of an eye. But we have situations where some are holding back right here. What do you think may have been the reason for this?
Well, I think you've mentioned part of them, which is quite understandable. That most of the argument against it are the risk of abuse. Of course, we know that some governors even currently harassing opposition parties, intimidating political rivals, influencing election, suppressing dissidents and the rest of them. These are the fears that most people are having that the state police will bring on board. Apart from that, currently we have a weak institution. I just mentioned the oversight of the police and the rest of them. It's currently very weak. And most of the people who are actually scared of the state police think that we don't have strong institution, enough to challenge, have this state police keep them into, account and bring them into accountability. Of course, I also mentioned, which is actually correct, you have the funding challenges. Most of the governors are actually fighting to even pay, minimum wage in their respective states, and so they are thinking of bringing up another burden of the state police is going to be an additional issue in terms of funding. And so, of course, you look at some states that have different ethnic composition, like in Delta State. So some people are going to be scared that such a police, state police might favor one ethnic groups against the other, and then end up using it to suppress one ethnic groups or the other. These are fears. And like you also mentioned in one of your summaries, the issue of jurisdiction. When does the state police takes over an issue compared to the federal police? But these are the things that they can also, bring true clarity when the issue is, well debated on, and when well thought out of, bringing in professionals, bringing in people who are experts in security issues. They can be actually addressed. Then of course we have the issue of the potential threat to the national unity. People are saying that once we have the state police, some states can actually become too powerful and begin to challenge the federal government. And also we have the issue of security standard. What is security? When you say that such a crime requires heavy policing in one state, compared to the other states where they have probably a minor handling cases on that. Again, these are the issues of bringing in standards to state police, bringing in robust debate as to what is needed in all this. The more the conversation, the quality of the debate and the argument of against and for state police. But at the end of the day, we should be able to come to a compromise, and this compromise is being driven by one underlying factor. Nigerian life matters. We need to secure lives and properties. We can't continue on a daily basis where people are being kidnapped, people are being murdered. Life in Nigeria has become worthless, where you see on the social media with 10,000 or 20,000 people are sent to go and kill people. This must not allow to continue. The government of the day has failed us by not guaranteeing our life and properties. I will urge all Nigerians to come together, support the state police, but make sure that a serious standard, serious oversight fund is inbuilt in them to make sure that no state governor, no particular ethnic group can abuse this process against the other person. That would be my plea for Nigerians.
Okay, we've seen instances where state governors have shied away from their responsibilities. Let's take, for instance, the recent statement made by Governor of your state in the light of the kidnapping that happened in your state, where he talked about the fact asking UN for investigation. Besides that, he has also made a statement where he talked about that during the time of when the Chibok girls were kidnapped, a lot of people were blaming the President Goodluck Jonathan at that point in time. Nobody mentioned the state governor. But this time around, people were instead of blaming President Tinubu. What do you make of this? Is it not speaking from two sides of the mouth? Is this the kind of statement that should be coming from a governor when you know that definitely these are some of the major issues that have been at the front burner? What do you make of all of this?
Well, it's a campaign time. It's politics time. So like the commissioner from Edo State also mentioned that sometimes in times of campaign, but let's just look at the fundamental issue. Again, it's part of the problem of Nigerian security architecture. The governor of a state is supposed to be the chief security officer of that state. And in spite of that, he's not allowed to make certain decisions as to how such security operative should go. And if he thinks it's important to order some investigation or probe into what happened, what led to the to the kidnapping of the children and also the rescue operation, so be it. He's the chief security officer, so why is not allowed to do that? And I think for the governor to begin to call for the international probe, it just shows you that his hands are basically tied, and of course he knew that probably he will not be able to order a probe of such magnitude without having to fight the the federal might. And that also gives more reason why we are going to have a state police where the governor is at liberty to order investigation into what happened in his state, and also have people held accountable. Yes, I speaking from double side of the mouth. Jonathan's period, every kidnapping, every insecurity issues were dumped at the foot of the president, which, by the way, it is correct, because the buck stops at the president's feet. He is the commander-in-chief and the chief security officer of the federation, and so the life and properties and security of the state, of the country, lies at his feet. And so the governor was very correct when he asked that the blame stops at the feet of the president. If the governor of a state cannot allow to exercise his power as the chief security of the officer of the state, if he cannot control the police, the army, the military, the paramilitary, attached to his state, of course, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria must take blame for that.
Okay, in the light of this, before I let you go, though time not really on our side right now, but in the course of this conversation, we mentioned the Amoteku, which was also introduced by the state government and support other parts of the southwest state. You talked about the Ebubegu in the southeast state right there. All these were introduced by the state governor in a bid to really minimize to a certain level the insecurity in the state. Is there any law stopping us from introducing that to keep the security architecture that will keep their citizens safe? Is there any law against that? Most people talk about federal government in every instance. What's your own take on that before I let you go?
Yes, you're right. I give you some right on that. But the fact is that these security apparatus of vigilantes by law created by the different state assembly are limited. Their jurisdiction and powers are limited in terms of, you can see that some of the arrests being made by these vigilantes, they arrest them and they hand them over to the police. So which shows you that they have limitations of what they can do. Again, that's why I don't understand also the fight against the certain state governors about the state police, because they have they realize that the security of their state is paramount to them. They also realize that intelligence is local. They realize that the speed, the response time, from these local vigilantes is much faster than from the federal police. They realize that they can take command of such structures without having to wait for the IG of police to issue out instruction, or the commissioner of police to issue instructions to his people. And so, looking at it from that perspective, they have actually been doing a semi-quasi policing for their respective state, and then they should actually be happy to do that. Now, like you asked, the question you asked, why are they calling the federal government? Because by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, their jurisdiction is limited. And that is why we need to have a comprehensive Nigerian police reform or security architecture reform to allow the states to have a full jurisdiction of their state in terms of security policing. I think these are the issues that are being debated. And that's why probably some governors still have the alibi, even if it's not 100% correct. They always have to have the alibi of saying that it's because it's the jurisdiction of the federal government. That's why they're not going to do that. So to clear this alibi from most of these governors, they should take full responsibility of the state police and be held accountable for their action or inactions in their different states.
Okay, let me hold your thought in the room. I want to go on a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn.
Finally, before we wrap up the program, wrap up the show from the Lagos Abuja studio, let me take the last word from Ken Gbadi on what his advice would be for both the state and the federal government on the issue of state policing, as you're looking for find an amiable grant that will ensure the security of life and property. What will be your advice to them?
Nigeria designed a state police system with sufficient safeguards to prevent governors from turning it into a political weapon. The answer is yes. A well-designed state police structure could significantly improve security and strengthen federalism. A poorly designed one could deepen political repression and instability. A balanced position would be Nigeria needs a state police, but not a governor's police. The success of state policing depends on constitutional safeguard, independent oversight, professional standard, and a strong accountability mechanism, and moreover, the support of the Nigerians to make sure that their lives and properties are safe will give a balanced state police that will not be governor's police to suppress individuals. That will be my appeal to Nigerians.
ADC network there to really talk to us on state policing and also looking at issues concerning that. So much for Abuja studio. Link up with our Lagos studio right there as the conversation on this morning on ITV.
Thank you. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has affirmed the April 29 judgment by Justice Joyce Abdul Malik of the Federal High Court, Abuja, bearing the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for recognizing or participating in any state congress conducted by the Congress committees appointed by the David Mark-led caretaker interim National Working Committee of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Good morning and welcome to the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. I'm Patricia Uremu Gabriels. It's good to have you on the program because I'm not doing this alone. I have with me Michael, as usual. Like I said always, I get excited when he's sitting beside me. Doctor, you're welcome this morning.
Thank you.
To let you know that I've missed you so much. Thank you for coming and having the time to come and co-anchor with me this morning. And also we have this morning in the studio. Yes, I've always wanted him to come, but he's been so busy out of Lagos, and finally he made it here to the studio. We have Prince Francis Chilaka. Prince Francis Chilaka is a political analyst. You're welcome. Thank you for finding time.
Good morning. I don't mind.
Okay, so gentlemen, this morning we're looking at ADC State Congress. The appeal court upholds orders stopping INEC. That is what we're going to be looking at this morning from our Lagos Network studio. Doctor, let me leave you to start off with this.
Okay, so the issue here is state congresses, the David Mark at the national level seems to have a leeway because the Supreme Court has already given them, have recognized them. But there seems to be a problem at the state level because, of course, you have the old, or if I call them legacy chairman, and the new chairman, and that's a bottleneck in the party. How is that playing out in what is going on right now?
Well, honestly, it's a dicey one because from the way our political system is structured, you start from Congress to primaries, and if you're saying that the incumbent chairman has no powers to conduct congresses, they're also saying that he has no powers to conduct a primary. So I just think that somehow the judiciary is, in one way or the other, trying to ambush ADC. Because, I mean, I'll use this analogy. I told somebody the other day, I said, Nnamdi Kanu had a case with federal government, which moved from High Court to Appeal Court, where he got judgment to Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court now said, okay, we've seen your case, but go back to High Court. And when that was said, I said to a lot of people, I said, look, he's not going to get off free. And what happened? So it's the same thing the Supreme Court did with ADC. The Supreme Court said, okay, David Mark, we recognize your chairmanship, but go back to the High Court, where it has been questioned. And up till now, that case has not been resolved, sorted out. Now, the appeal call is now coming from another direction to say, you have no powers to conduct primaries, which the High Court has already said. So, for me, I think it's like gradually pushing ADC into limbo.
But there seems to be a little bit of confusion here for me, because the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has denied issuing any access code to Nafiu Gombe factions of the party, insisting that the portal code for the party's candidate nomination was granted exclusively to the Senator David Mark-led leadership.
Well, for me, whatever INEC says these days, I take with a pinch of salt. Because we just have highly politicized INEC. An INEC that, we wake up from the wrong side of the bed and tell you, there's a judgment by this court, and we need to follow it. So INEC can as well wake up. When all these parties, all the factions were doing congresses, I think I was on the issue, and I said, look, they're all preparing themselves just in case the ballot falls on my side. I will say, I've done my congress, I've done my primaries, here are my own. So I think that's the gamble that is playing out. When a few Mumbi said he had uploaded, he didn't mention the name of who he uploaded. So for me, I just knew that there was more to it, than meets the eye. But then, I think at this point of our democracy, INEC needs to stand out and show the independent nature of INEC. But what we have today is not an independent INEC. We have an INEC that is being tossed around. In one hand, the executive will give their own. On the other hand, the judiciary will do their own. Just like what's playing out in the National Assembly, where they wake up and... Initially, I said that they were so much in a hurry to pass any bill on state security. I had always maintained that right now we're not ripe for that. We are not ripe. We must be honest with ourselves.
The state police, you mean?
Yes. And I found out, and I gave a solution. I said, you have a federal police. Why don't we gradually implement a state police using the federal police? All the commissioners, let them be from their states. Key officers, let them be from their states. It gives you what will happen in another 5 years. But no, the National Assembly was so much in a hurry. Oh, they passed a bill. Now, the executive has sent their own bill. And they say, oh, our own is not correct. We can't use that. I mean, it shows you the mediocrity in the system. So the same thing you have playing out at the National Assembly is what you have playing out with INEC. And I keep saying, the trust deficit is a big problem between the government and the command. And it needs to break. So that's why whatever government says, people just like, if government says good morning, people have run out.
Go watch it.
Sure
if it's morning, actually.
It shouldn't be like that. And unfortunately, the government is not doing anything to bring the people to themselves. They're not.
Okay. Just to circle back a little. INEC is saying that about over 400 people that successful for the David Mark faction. The latest report I got was about 470, but let's just say about 400. And that these ones have been done successfully and hopefully right. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the judgment. And then the question is, they stopped as soon as they heard the jud And so, which means only about 470 have been recognized, including Atiku and Rotimi Amechi. But the rest, we do not know what the situation is. What are the implications of this, and what should any of those 400, how do those 470 people be feeling right now? Are they safe?
They're not safe. Because if I was being honest, we started uploading names from a particular faction. No matter the judgment, you continue. But stopping also means that INEC wants to go and look at that judgment
again
and see the implications of that judgment.
But it was talking about not recognizing the congresses, not the primaries. So what is it looking at?
So you know the thing, like I said, the Sesame Street. You can't take away the Congress from the primaries.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge of how our political works, you cannot take away the because it's not from Congress. It is the same people at the Congress that come to elect and vote in the primaries. So if those people who came to vote in the primaries have not been pushed aside, then it means those they voted into, they've also lost out.
Okay, see, the issue, as I said earlier with the Congress, is that at the state level, there are two factions. A legacy faction, there's the old state chairman and executives, and then the new one that living back. And both sides are in court right now. Does that mean that agency is probably working on
eggshell?
Well, eggshell is being cautious, but perhaps on a sound foundation?
Well, the thing is, I'll put it this way: our politicians are also very greedy and selfish. Our politicians do not understand what you mean by sovereignty belongs to the people. The Nigerian politics has been used to sovereignty belonging to the political class. And so when you see politicians fighting one another, they're not fighting because they want to better the lot of the people. No, they are fighting because of what they want to grab from the system. A lot of them have been feeding off the system. You know, directors that he engaged, and from the beginning, and then there's an acquisition of the company. You don't expect them to say, "No, we're not going. You must." New team does not have any right to.
Except if the new team decide, engage some of them.
But this is not business. The RAF wants to sell.
Nigerian politics is business.
Yeah, okay, so the RAF wants to, are you alleging that he probably sold it to the new owners?
It looks
Does
like...
it appear like a transactional handover?
Well, the truth of the matter is that he is no longer in control of the party.
Yes.
So he has given the party to somebody else. It's like this ITV now. If the state government decides or the owners decide to say, we want a new ownership.
It is not owned by state government. Let's put that out there.
Oh!
It's owned by
Chief Osar Ibinetio.
The Esama of the Benin Kingdom.
I'm sure, why you say this, as the pressure people
and for your information, it is the 001, the first private television station
in Nigeria.
All right, okay. So TV that is owned by Sama.
It's Sama of Benin.
Yes. Now, if tomorrow he wakes up from sleep and he says, I'm getting old, I can't run this business anymore. And then maybe both of us come up with, okay, we want to acquire the shares of this place. And he agrees. And we sign an agreement. It's between the two of us. We don't owe any staff here anything. We can decide to say we want to recruit new people. And this is the way our Nigerian politics is.
So wittingly or unwittingly, you have inadvertently admitted one way or another that Chief Waraf also sold the party. And that's where the problem is, if you allow me. He may have sold it without the knowledge of the other shareholders. Could that be the cause of the problem?
Also becomes who owns the party. He has always claimed ownership of the party.
Yes. Does anybody own a party in Nigeria?
Okay. Now,
anyone,
it's like NNPP.
Constitutional, does anyone own a party?
It's like NNPP, where you have
Kwankwaso
and I say Anselm, I've forgotten his name. And both of them have been at loggerheads. The man claims the ownership of the party.
Who? Kwankwaso.
No, Kwankwaso. The original owner of the party. Kwankwaso is not the owner of the party. Kwankwaso came into the party as a candidate, as a presidential candidate to bosom the party. That was it. Just like you have this ADC that you now had when Kachuku came in. Kachuku is not the owner of the party. He was only made a presidential candidate.
I'm finding this very interesting now. So, in Nigeria, political parties are businesses, private businesses.
Now let us go to the AAC, that is being under Showore.
Yes.
Immediately after the election, Showore is the chairman of the party.
Does chairmanship equate to ownership?
Today is a candidate. He runs the party. A party that one man can make decisions. And those decisions will be binding. What do you call that person?
Okay, so pot parties, other parties. Who owns APC?
Well, APC is a conglomerate.
Okay. Who owns PDP?
PDP right now is we don't even know who owns it anymore.
Now let's come back. Who owns ATC?
Good. That's a big question. And that question needs to be resolved. The owner of ATC, the person who claims to be the owner, Ralph Wilson, has given the party to David Mark.
Without the consent of other shareholders.
It depends on what the shareholders have brought to the table. What have have they brought to the table? That's the question we should be asking.
Okay. So what have they brought to the table?
Yes. So it's a matter of interest.
So I like the direction that this is going. So what it therefore means is, to put it in more perspective, is that the owner of the party sold the party to the David Mark Group. The David Mark Group took possession of the party, but because other shareholders in the original they were not carried along, they disgruntled, and then they now said, no, this party we are still shareholders here. We have not received our shares of the
dividends
from the sales and all that. So does that therefore mean that is at the heart? I mean, this is like putting it very simple, in a simplistic way. So perhaps that is at the heart of the problem.
Let me take it a step further. Look at NDC, for instance.
Yes.
Who owns NDC?
I don't know. You tell me.
The former governor.
Yes.
He owns the party.
Yes.
So
he owns the party. He brought in people and said, come and eat. So when you invite somebody to come and eat, you don't expect the person to bring the plate.
So the donor of the party is not invited to come and be the managing director to come and eat dinner. They can fire him. No, but I mean, we're putting it in a way that we can understand.
Let me put it this way. When P2B was in Labour Party, I know a lot of people that will say, P2B could not stay on the problem of Labour Party. But there's a question I was also asking you. As a presidential candidate party, you're not a member of the National Working Committee of the party. You are only
an employee.
At that point, at the point of being a presidential, that power is. The moment you stop being a presidential candidate, your powers are not there. You cannot sit in the National Working Committee. You cannot take decisions. You cannot. And so when people say, oh, P2B did not stay in Labour Party, and I said, is it going to have, what power does he have to call a meeting of Labour Party?
Okay, I want us to look at INEC in all of this. Let's look at INEC. What role should INEC play while the case remains before the...
Well, I think, for me, I would say that INEC has, over time, given Nigerians the impression that she's not independent. And for that, people are skeptical about the actions of INEC. But INEC should build back our trust with the people, which is going to be very difficult.
Doctor, I wonder why you did that.
Because for us to say you are independent, it means that you can take decisions out in a you do what you think is right. Where I think INEC has found herself in deep waters is because INEC has allowed herself to be pushed to one corner by Virginia. When INEC started doing what I call selective implementation of court judgments. If INEC had stood her grounds from day one, until this matter is resolved in the courts, we will not do anything. We will not say, okay, good. But you hear one judgment today, INEC will jump. You hear another judgment tomorrow, INEC will jump.
Is INEC okay?
It is not helping our democracy. So INEC, as of today, the INEC we have today, has lost the trust of the people.
Can we see what the problem of INEC is? I mean, I think that from what you just said now, INEC is between the devil and deep blue sea. Let's look at it properly. You have an executive that determines your budget, whether you can receive it or not. Okay? If it was automatic, that whatever is INEC, and then nobody can tamper with it, you cannot control INEC. I'm talking about true independence now. That's on the one hand. So, and then you are appointed also, and you are at the head of the executive. Messy because there are areas they can control you, manipulate you, especially through your budget allocation. If they can't do anything. The judiciary, on the other hand, you are bound to obey the judiciary. I understand the issue of selective implementation of judicial decisions and all that. But there's an INEC that is hounded by even courts of coordinate jurisdiction. You hear this one say this today in Abuja, and that one says and down again in Port Harcourt, the other one in Jos. Who do you want to?
All right. I think the first and
I want you to just.
I'm gonna take
yes,
just to see,
yes, to help
bring you back to,
yes.
to where we started. Now you see, I have always believed that Nigeria is a country made up of men and women of proven integrity. But unfortunately, we don't see it when they get appointed into government space. And it's just because of this whole thing of wealth acquisition. People see appointment in government as an opportunity to enrich themselves. They don't see it as an opportunity to serve the people. Now, if a right person, a right thinking person, somebody who has a mind of his own, somebody who agrees, who believes in his own conscience, is appointed as INEC chairman. And you now resume and you now find that because of your budget, because of funds, there's nothing is to do the training and walk away. I don't.
Well,
somebody is employed to manage business. And the man who employs you becomes a burden on you. He wants you to do this, he wants you to do that. I mean, if you have any atom of integrity and self-respect, you will.
Okay, so do you think it's the appointment that is the INEC chairman should have been elected, not appointed?
For me, I have always said that it is totally unacceptable for Mr. President to be the one to appoint INEC chairman. If we're saying that, oh, we don't want the National Assembly to do it, National Assembly ordinarily should do it, or House of Rep.
How?
Because they are representing the people.
I think it's
if it doesn't work that way, the politics should be able to sit together and bring out a candidate for INEC.
It's not as simple as that.
Why?
It's easy to say so, but
no, but why is it not?
It's not. I mean, how do you agree? Why do you get the candidates? How do you vote? How do you decide?
Anyhow, like I say, until Nigerians, those who aspire to leadership in this country, until they begin to think of patriotism, this country cannot move forward.
Just like the woman in Abia State, the professor.
She had an opportunity to become a very rich woman. She had an opportunity to do what others were doing. She said no. So why can't we make such a woman an INEC chairman?
Okay, thank you very much for saying so. If you were an incumbent and you are standing on one leg, would you appoint such a woman? Yes, that's how politicians think.
But
no.
I'll
tell you how they think. Yeah, but because they want to appoint people. That's the problem. Unfortunately,
let me take us out of the shores of Nigeria. This what happened in South Africa. When the blacks, I call them blacks because I didn't see the whites here. When indigenous South Africans started asking other nationals to leave,
yeah.
You saw the position of their government. The government went to sleep. For me, I believe that the South African government have what it takes to quell whatever was coming. But because they understand that sovereignty belongs to the people.
No, because okay, let me say this. I think it's important to understand that these things usually come with it's a political point. The government was conveniently quiet because it was something that they knew could work them in the election. It wasn't so because they didn't understand the implication.
Any which way we look at it, the government was in what happened.
Yes, conveniently.
Because of two things. Because of politics and because of the fact that they were scared of the people, voting them out of office. Nigerian politicians are not afraid of the Nigerian people. They take the Nigerian people for granted.
I get you, got you.
Until the Nigerian politicians begin to bow to the Nigerian people and realize that without the vote of the people, I cannot be here.
But the impoverished people cannot, I mean...
We had the likes of, I keep talking about Sam Mbakwe. We had the likes of, the late of Ajasi. We had Milford, what's his name? Yes, these are people we had as governors country. And we saw how they worked. Why do all these charlatans we have as leaders not able to do the right thing? Why are they finding difficult to do the right thing?
Okay, let's come back to it.
I was just going to bring him back to the ADC thing. Why is it that the ADC State Congress is being contested, actually? I mean,
it's all about power. It's all about who will grab what. You see, all this thing you're laying out in the Congress is everybody's looking at it. Oh, if our party clinches the presidency tomorrow, that's right. They're not looking at the fact that if he said I'm the chairman of the party in Imo State, and he claims to be the caretaker chairman of the party in Imo State. He's from David Mark. I am from the old stock, so to say. And then we now look at it, we are fighting each other. And that's okay. Come. You want to be party chairman? I want to be party chairman. Why don't we do it this way? Okay. Since your own people now are in charge, be party chairman.
You think they have accepted that?
No, you need to.
It doesn't work that way. That's idealistic, but it's not great.
I'll give you a very short story. A few years ago, I had an encounter with somebody who taught me politics, the late Edwin Imezio. He belonged to, I think, UNPP, and we were planning a merger with APP that gave birth to ANPP. And it gave slots to UNPP in terms of congresses now. And the same thing happened at the national. And now, within the UNPP, they were giving secretary in most of the states, including the FCT. Now, there was somebody who felt he was coming from APP, but he felt that he has worked so hard for APP and had given the secretaryship to the faction that was coming to, that he was going to lose that completely. And that was the first time I was contesting an election. I didn't have to bribe anybody. I didn't. It was an option A4. So on the election ground, we were just told to stand on the table and people would line up. It was smooth sailing. That was how I became the first ANPP secretary in Abuja. We sat down and said, okay, don't worry, since you worked in APP for too long, committees that will be set up, one or two of them, you'll be chairman. You'll be taken care of. You cannot allow your own individual desire to truncate a bigger picture.
Did the man step down for you?
Yes, he did.
It was already agreed that it would go to.
No, but he tells because he felt it was more popular. But he eventually.
Okay, so let's go.
So we need to have that kind of thing in Nigeria today. The Nigeria of today, it has been bastardized.
Okay, so my question: do you not think that this judgment it jeopardizes the presidential candidacy of former President Atiku Abubakar?
If it is implemented to the letter, it will, and I'll tell you why. Which is what I said before. People that came out for the Congress were also the people that came to vote for his candidacy and the primaries. So if you're saying that those executives across the states are not recognized, how will you not recognize the person they voted in? You cannot him.
So what do you think that implies?
Because don't forget that the new electoral says there are two ways to elect your candidate, either through consensus or delegates. And these delegates come from the same Congress. Because it is the leadership of the party in the states who have been elected that organized the delegates that voted. Throw them out, then it means that their votes don't count. They never actually anybody.
Okay, let's look at other political parties who all of this play out. How do you think political parties can similar legal disputes so they don't also face
Well,
this?
the only way they can avoid it is to sit down and those who make compromises, those who have court cases, who believe in one Nigeria, in the sovereignty belonging to the people, who are patriotic. What they can do is sit down with the other court cases and allow the internal dynamics of the party to play out. That is the only way out.
Do you think that can work when, like we said, let's look at NDC, for example. We also say the former governor of Bayelsa State owns it. So he will want to have the authority over...
But right now, they are not... within the party, they don't have that kind of problem. The only problem they have is with non-stakeholders saying, oh, this party is having a logo that we wanted to use. And there's somebody going to register his business name. And, after the CSC has given him somebody that comes and say, hey, no, that was a name I wanted. I had it in my brain. I wanted to use it. So that's where we are. But in terms of, when we're looking at other parties, we're talking of parties like Labour Party. We're talking about PDP. PDP that has been decimated and all of that. So it's for people who have court cases to say, it's for the greater good. And what is the greater good? The greater good is that we want to have a country we can hold on to. Nigerians have been chased out of South Africa. They're coming back home. Those of us at home are faring better.
Okay, Doctor, I know you have some questions.
Just one last question.
Yes.
There's this case at the Federal High Court where INEC was ordered to direct the EDC and 4 other parties for failing the electoral threshold. The appeal court did that execution, as you well know, so that ADC remains a registered party for now. Do you see that coming up later as we approach the election?
Well, I will tell you, in all sincerity, that I'm still shocked that up to now the appeal court has refused to sit on that case and pass its judgment. But then, if you look at it, I believe that since the formation of NDC, some senators, some honorable members have decamped to the party. And the moment you decamp to a party, whether you wish it or not, it's assumed that the party has candidates. So it's going to be a very dicey one. Based on that, it's going to be dicey. But even about the registering NDC because of logo, it doesn't also add up.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see.
We just have to wait and see.
Yes,
but before we go, I want us to look at the flood quickly. The flood in Lagos State, the rain and everything. What advice do we have for the people?
Well, I saw a video morning that shocked me. Fortunately, they showed this where a security man was a big trash.
Yes, I saw the video too.
He poured it down there, and then another place, school or so. Unfortunately, that maybe made a victim, but it may have been instructed by management who will right. We have brought this upon ourselves, building on drainages and the clogging drainages. I think there should be more awareness about the implications. Some people, the man that did that may not even be aware about the implication. He just saw an empty drainage system, empty garbage, and hope that water will wash it away, not knowing that it's a great problem for people.
For me, I think the government is to also more proactive. You give contract to people to open up the drainage, remove all the debts from the drainage, by the side,
and
so it's a double.
So it's between the government and the people.
The people need to be more conscious. The people need to realize that for every time you handle the environment, the environment come out.
Thank you so much, Chika. You always made it interesting. Doctor, we're rounding off.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming, and it's a conversation that is ongoing, and we'll keep talking about it as things arise. More updates. Yeah.
Yes, as things arise, we keep calling on Prince Chilaka to come help us clarify everything that is going around in politics. Well, getting close to the 2027 general elections, and we hope that the INEC gets it right this time. Anyway, thank you to our viewers out there who are joining us this morning on the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos network today. I'm Patricia.
This is a knowledge greenhouse.
A beautiful morning to you, and thanks for joining us on ITV News for this time. I am Harry Igboje. Edo State government says stamping out infants and maternal mortality is a must in the state. The Deputy Governor, Edo State, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, gave the declaration statement at the first quarter of Primary Healthcare Task Force meeting held at the Festival Hall, Government House, Benin City. Deborah Ogbefo reports. Shall be going on a break now. The news continues afterwards. Please stay tuned.
Some events are Kata Catering Service isn't just about serving food. It's about creating moments you'll always remember. Since 2018, we've served distinguished guests. We're renowned for excellence, consistency, earning trusted recommendations, and outstanding reviews. Even from distinguished dignitaries, from intimate gatherings to events of over 1,000 guests, our delivery is seamless and precise. Every dish is thoughtfully crafted and flawlessly executed because true luxury is not just seen, it is an experienced. Kata Catering Services is where experience meets perfection. Book now.
Many thanks for rejoining us. And moving on, Edo State government has urged residents to embrace unity, cooperation, and shared responsibility in support of Governor Monday Okpebelo's development agenda. And the governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebelo, represented by the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, made the appeal during a Thanksgiving service held in honor of the late mother of Edo State Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Honorable Jerry Wangwe, in Uromi, Esa Northeast local government area. Deborah Ogbefon has details.
Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa arrived at Living Faith Church, Uromi, to represent Governor Monday Okpebelo at a special Thanksgiving ceremony organized in honor of late Madam Fatima Wangwe, who passed away at the age of 93. While consoling the Wangwe family, the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, described the occasion as a befitting tribute to a woman whose life was marked by faith, sacrifice, and selfless service. Right Honorable Idahosa used the occasion to solicit support from Edo people to rally behind Governor Monday Okpebelo to actualize policies and programs on the China agenda, emphasizing that meaningful development flourishes where there is mutual trust, collaboration, and active citizen participation.
The transformation in Edo State, ably led by my principal, the executive governor, I want to assure you in the presence of God that we will do more. We are going to make Edo people proud. And most importantly, we will make God Almighty that has given us this position so proud.
Earlier, the resident pastor, Living Faith Church, Uromi, Pastor Alexander Emoyon, reminded the congregation that death is inevitable and urged Christians to live purposefully, love one another, and remain steadfast in their faith. Special prayers were offered for the bereaved family, Edo State government, and the people, with clerics praying for peace. In Edo, Deborah Ubefon, ICV News.
And the University of Benin, UNIBEN, has emphasized its avid commitment to educational innovation and vision of academic excellence and societal impact. The university's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Edoba B. Omorege, gave the assurance at the institution's 5th edition Faculty of Public Lecture series titled From the Weevil Bird, Disseminators of Information to the Digital Phenomenon, the Study of Communication, which held at the Akindeco Auditorium, Ubowo Campus. Esther Ogoro reports.
The lecture, organized by the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, focused on the evolution of communication from traditional methods to the digital age. Representing the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Christopher Osubo, welcomed guests, students, lecturers, and other stakeholders. He described the lecture series as a key instrument to shaping academic and well-researched approach to information dissemination in a digitally driven environment.
He felt that we should go beyond the inaugural lecture, and so he instituted the faculty lecture series for the university, and like I said, this happened to be the 5th in the series.
Delivering a lecture titled From the Weaver Bed as Disseminators of Information to the Digital Phenomenon, the Study of Communication, the Dean of the Faculty of Communication and Media Study, Professor Marcel Okako, highlighted the diverse programs offered by the faculty and their contributions to economic development, societal advancement, and personal growth. He urged aspiring communication professionals to cultivate patience, resilience, and leadership qualities.
We teach students and society how to communicate, how to interface with one another, how to deal with the world using technology, using face-to-face instruments.
Participants commented the organizers, describing the lecture as insightful, innovative, and enriching.
Via this lecture, I was exposed to a lot of things that I could do, a lot of opportunities that are available to us, mass communication students.
I want to say a very big thank you to the organizers, especially to the Dean of my faculty. Thank you very much for this important lecture.
Highlights of the public lecture was a presentation of certificates and award to the resource person, Professor Mase Okako. From Benin, Esther Ogoro, ITV News.
The presidency has criticized Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde over his call for a unified nations-led investigation into the abduction of pupils and teachers in the state, describing the demand as unnecessary and politically motivated. Makinde, while formally assuming responsibility for the welfare, rehabilitation and education of the 45 teachers and pupils rescued after spending 56 days in captivity, called for a unified, nations-backed investigation into the abduction, saying Nigerians deserved a full account of the circumstances surrounding the incident. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said the governor's request suggested a lack of confidence in Nigeria's security institutions, insisting that the military and other security agencies had already provided explanations on the rescue operation. Onanuga said the presidency had no objection to an international body examining the incident if Makinde believed there were unresolved issues. According to him, the rescue operation came at a cost, with some security personnel, including members of the military and Amotekun, losing their lives while pursuing the abductors. A total of 315 Nigerian South African returnees are expected to arrive in the country on Wednesday, 15th July 2026 in the final evacuation move by the federal government. This was disclosed in a statement signed on Tuesday by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Imomitomi Ebienfa. The flight to be operated by Air Peace will depart South Africa at 1:30 a.m. with an estimated time of arrival at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, set at 6:30 a.m. The government had earlier conducted 4 evacuation flights, bringing home hundreds of Nigerians following the recent xenophobic attacks and security concerns in parts of South Africa. The federal government's evacuation consists of Nigerians who indicated interest in returning home as a result of the attacks. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to protecting Nigerians wherever they may be and expressed appreciation to all stakeholders involved in the evacuation exercise. And over now to Lagos State, where the government has threatened legal action against an ex-user for reportedly sharing a misleading flood video falsely attributed to the state. The Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, disclosed this on Tuesday, insisting that deleting the post after it had been debunked would not shield the user from legal consequences. The Commissioner said the video shared by the user, popularly known as Enugu Loudspeaker, did not originate from Lagos. Wahab stressed that while the government respected citizens' right to freedom of expression, such rights must be exercised responsibly. He added that a deliberate dissemination of false information and misleading narratives not only undermines the efforts of the Lagos State government, but also diminishes the credibility of genuine complaints raised by well-meaning residents. And that does it on ITV News for this time. Thanks so much for watching. I am Harry Aigboje. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
Benin Cultural Dance, a unique dance and quality dance steps of the Benin people. This dance is a vibrant mix of traditions, arts and beliefs, deeply rooted in the country's diverse ethnic groups and their rich history. The dance has artistic expressions depicting the people's history. Benin people have been famous for bronze and brass work, some of which is said to date back from the 13th century, especially ivory and wood carving. In Benin, the people dance to show respect, honor, dignity, which they honor. They dance to show royalty, as natives are seen in their numbers round their body depicting the symbol of kingship.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
All right, this is where we come to the high points of the program today. This morning on ICAV, and sincere apologies, we couldn't get to the social media segments of the program, but hopefully tomorrow is going to come your way. Well, on behalf of my co-anchors, Wisino Marshall in Benin, and of course Patricia in Lagos and Tolu in Abuja, I want to say a very big thank you for watching the program all the while. My name is Evan Sudoku. Get on to the same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless you.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
If you are passionate about saving lives